Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit more serious than what I normally do. Today we're going to be talking about some of the most chilling murders of all time. So let's get into it.
5 people were slaughtered here in the dead of the night, including the stunning and heavily pregnant Hollywood actress Sharon Tate.
Today we're going to start with the chilling murder of Sharon Tate. Now, for decades, Hollywood and the rest of America have been scared to the core after the murder of Sharon Tate by the Manson family. These murders occurred while Tate was 8 months pregnant. On the night of August 8, 1969, Sharon Tate was at her house with multiple friends like any normal day. Her husband, director Roman Polanski, was filming on location far away from the house. At the time, the couple was renting a posh home in one of the neighborhoods in Los Angeles. This home would later become the site of these horrendous killings. Charles Manson, the infamous cult leader,
Tell me in a sentence who you are. Nobody. I'm nobody.
ordered a couple of his faithful followers to break into Sharon Tate's house and to, quote, kill everyone inside as gruesomely as they can. The cult members assassinated 18-year-old Stephen Parent as soon as they entered the home. They then went inside, their sights set on the rest of the people in the home. They rounded up the 4 people inside and tied them to chairs in the living room. Sebring, a celebrity hairstylist who was in the home at the time, objected, claiming that the pregnant Sharon Tate was being tormented badly, but all he got was a bullet to the chest, a foot to the face, and knife after knife driven into his body until he was dead. 2 other people who were in the house at the time tried to liberate themselves by freeing themselves of the shackles and running. The attempt was unfortunately unsuccessful, and they were pursued by the killers. They were savagely stabbed dozens of times. At this time, Sharon Tate was the only one who had survived. She begged her captors to let her live so that her unborn child could also live. The Manson family, on the other hand, was unmoved. They stabbed her to death and drew the word pig on her front door using her blood. The house itself was the reason for the attack, as Manson wanted revenge on one of the previous renters who lived in that home. This person was music producer Terry Melcher, who had denied Charles Manson a record deal. Each of the assailants who were involved in that night received either the death penalty or life in prison. Every plea for parole was turned down for every member.
Dennis Nilsen is one of Britain's biggest serial killers of the 20th century.
Dennis Nilsen was a serial killer who killed at least 6 people between the late 1970s and the early 1980s. He would pick up young men at London bars and take them home and strangle them. He would also bathe and dress the bodies, frequently keeping them for weeks, if not months. He would talk to them, even have sex with them, before eventually burning or flushing them down the toilet. And here's the funny part. He was only apprehended, get this, because the leftover parts of the humans he had tried to flush down the toilet had gotten into the drain outside of his home and clogged it.
What Diane Downs wanted more than anything else was to have children. She got her wish, but her dream turned into a twisted tragedy when she was sentenced to life for shooting her children because her boyfriend didn't like kids.
Diane Downs shot her 3 children and then drove them to hospital in the 1980s. One of her daughters died on the way to hospital, another had a stroke, and her son was paralyzed from the waist down. Diane stated that a strange man had attempted to take her car and then began firing upon everyone. However, her secret diary was eventually discovered by authorities, and apparently it described in detail her obsession with a married man who didn't wish to have any children. Her arrest occurred as the result of this diary entry. She was given a life sentence of 50 years in jail. All of this because of a man that she was obsessed with.
John Price wasn't so much murdered as butchered by his partner, abattoir worker Catherine Knight, Australia's most notorious psychopath.
Catherine Knight was the first woman in Australia to be sentenced to life in jail without parole. She was placed in jail because she skinned her husband, John Price, after stabbing him to death. Soon after she skinned him, she then fried various body parts, intending to feed it to her clueless children.
on the kitchen stove, they found a human head sitting in a pot amidst an array of boiled veggies.
Well, hikers in British Columbia, Canada, have found a dismembered foot inside of a running shoe while they were walking on a beach.
Right, and it's just the foot. You know, this hiking boot that's found, it's jammed into a bunch of logs on a beach, and it's a foot. But of all these 14, where's the rest of the body?
In 2007, a young woman was walking along the beach in British Columbia when she came across a shoe. Now this was no ordinary shoe. As she opened the sock, she was horrified to discover that there was a human foot inside of the shoe. The weird part is, for years now, a lot of severed feet have washed up on the shores of that beach.
Since 2007, this was the 20th foot to be washed up on shore between the shores of Washington State and British Columbia in Canada.
With a hoax foot thrown in here and there over the years, the case has never been closed. Numerous theories of who these feet belong to have circulated for years. In 2008, Vancouver police were able to identify one of the feet using matching DNA to that of a suicidal man.
The BC Coroner Service has confirmed the remains of a right foot found on February 8, 2008 on Valdez Island, and the remains of a left foot found on June 16, 2008 on Westham Island are from the same male.
They were also able to connect 2 more of the feet to a woman who was thought to have committed suicide. Because of those results, many people believe that the feet belong to those who have jumped off a bridge nearby and have passed away. However, it is strange that only feet were found and no other body parts. Others speculate that the feet are linked to victims from a plane crash that occurred nearby. Others speculate that they might have links to the tsunami that occurred in Asia in 2004, as all of the shoes were made in that year. Whatever origins these feet may have, this is a mystery that has baffled people for years.